Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, March 30th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect mostly cloudy skies and possible showers with a high of 82 degrees in San Antonio today. The video of George Floyd gasping for breath was essentially Exhibit A, as the former Minneapolis police officer who pressed his knee on the back of the black man's neck went on trial Monday on charges of murder and manslaughter. We have a report from the trial's start over at expressnews.com. Also, Express News is still accepting nominations for our 2021 Top Workplaces competition. Any organization with 35 or more employees in the San Antonio area can participate. Check this episode's description to learn more. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. The San Antonio councilwoman who leads a committee on public safety said the city's secrecy about a taxpayer-funded review of a potential bias on the part of airport police gnaws at her, and she wants the city to brief the committee in public on the findings. The review was triggered by the arrest of Fire Chief Charles Hood's teenage son at the airport last June on suspicion of carrying a fake ID and giving false information to the police. Hood, who is black, complained that the arrest was unnecessary and possibly the result of racial bias. An outside lawyer was hired to examine the circumstances of the arrest. The city attorney's office spent $5,525 on the probe. The findings remain unclear. Brian Chasnoff and Emily Eaton have more in their latest report. Facing a severe financial crunch, CPS Energy officials said Monday that the utility will resume, in the next 3 or 4 months, disconnecting customers who haven't paid their power bills. City-owned CPS suspended disconnections last spring when thousands of its customers lost their jobs early in the COVID-19 pandemic. A year later, the economy is slowly recovering as more residents receive COVID-19 vaccinations, and many of CPS customers have returned to work. At the same time, the utility is grappling with about $1 billion in expenses it racked up during the winter storm. We have everything you need to know about the plan to resume disconnections over at expressnews.com. Since February's storm burst a pipe in Jader Vera's apartment, mold has mushroomed along the walls surrounding the bed where his 5-year-old daughter sleeps. Soaked carpeting has been removed, leaving concrete floors. The air is musty, wet, and still, a month after the storm, water slowly seeped through the base of a kitchen wall. The office is unresponsive, Vera said in Spanish. My lease is over in December, but I can't stay here any longer. I'm afraid our health is at risk. Like many in the aftermath of the region's litany of hurricanes, floods, and storms, Vera is realizing that renter protections in the state are anemic at best. While landlords have the right to end a lease after a unit becomes uninhabitable, tenants who suddenly find their situations unbearable do not have many options. R.A. Schultz has more in his latest article. In the wake of last month's winter disaster, state lawmakers convened hearings to probe how a week-long winter storm had crippled the state. They have proposed laws to prevent similar catastrophes in the future. Meanwhile, staggeringly high bills for the storm are coming due. Small city-owned gas utilities like those in Corpus Christi, Sealy, and Bay City have few options for covering sky-high costs incurred during the Texas freeze. Officials in hard-hit cities have pledged not to pass on the bloated costs to customers all at once, saying they will break up any money owed into small increases billed to residents. For now, however, the giant bills municipal utilities owe to distributors loom. Eric Dexheimer has the latest over at expressnews.com. Texas Department of State Health Services announced that all adults in the state will become eligible to receive COVID-19 vaccinations beginning March 29th. We want to know how eager our readers are to schedule an appointment for their shot. Check this episode's description to submit your answer. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. On the same day all Texas adults became eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine, state leaders launched a new website to help members of the public find doses. Officials will use the online tool to identify potential pockets of opportunity to set up vaccine sites. President Joe Biden on Monday urged states to put mask mandates back in place, saying reckless behavior is threatening progress in containing COVID-19 as cases have started to climb despite a rapidly accelerating vaccination push. While President Joe Biden moves to expand the use of renewable energy nationwide, the Texas legislature is doing the opposite, adding fees on solar and wind electricity production in the state in hopes of boosting fossil fuels. Even as transmission of the coronavirus in San Antonio continued to wane Monday and all Texas adults became eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine, the city will ban camping at public parks over Easter weekend. Feeling lucky, basketball fans? We're giving away 2 tickets to the April 21st home game at the AT&T Center in San Antonio. Head over to expressnews.com to find out how to enter. Warren Buffett's $8.3 billion proposal to build more Texas power plants fails to address the cause of February's deadly power crisis, analysts say, and guarantees a hefty profit for his energy business that would be paid by consumers. An independent firm found no convincing evidence that a pastor recently hired by Southern Baptist Convention President J.D. Greer's church sought to conceal abuse allegations brought to him at another congregation years earlier. Oil prices recovered Monday as attention turned this week to OPEC's meetings and away from the blocked Suez Canal after a cargo ship stuck in the waterway was freed after 5 days. In Chris Tomlinson's latest column, he writes, quote, "Companies looking for new management tools should treat artificial intelligence with caution." The latest from the Express News editorial board is about the American Rescue Plan and the Affordable Care Act. The latter just celebrated its 11th anniversary and is on perhaps its strongest footing, increasingly popular with voters and desperately needed in a pandemic. Scroll through a stream of social media sites and witness the many faces of Burgundy Woods. She's a chameleon who slips from svelte to street style, as comfortable in a pair of Chucks as she is in stilettos. She is a chic fashionista at home at a film studio or a high-rise garden party or when lit by camera flashes on the red carpet. 40-year-old Woods is on a mission to make San Antonio and Texas synonymous with fashion. She is the editor-in-chief of Stylish TV, president of the Texas Fashion Industry Initiative, and founder of the Texas Fashion Week and the Texas Fashion Awards. Her story starts on San Antonio's south side and includes time in Los Angeles before returning home. Vincent T. Davis brings you her story in his latest San Antonio Stories column. Few, if any, outside the locker room expected the number 6 seed Longhorns to be one of the teams still standing in the NCAA tournament. Their cranked-up defense just might be the great equalizer against the number 1 seed South Carolina when the teams meet in the region final tonight. If the aphorism is true that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, then Dave Terrazas believes the way to a student's brain must run along the same route. Terrazas combines easy cooking techniques with high school level lessons in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Richard A. Marini has his story over at expressnews.com. An off-season procedure to clean out scar tissue in his knee has left UTSA quarterback Frank Harris feeling more mobile this spring. The Roadrunners enter spring with 8 quarterbacks splitting reps. All eyes will be on the big 3 of Ricky Fowler, Phil Mickelson, and Jordan Spieth, the top names in this year's field when the Valero Texas Open tees off Thursday at TPC San Antonio. We have 5 other players that merit keeping an eye on over at expressnews.com. Catch up on all the action from the past week with our game balls and updated rankings for girls soccer, softball, track and field, baseball, and boys soccer. Gorgie Deng, the team's newest arrival, does not come with LaMarcus Aldridge's pedigree, but might be a better fit off the bench. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Tuesday, March 30th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.